Hey guys, welcome. Welcome aboard if you are brand new. Welcome back if you're not. Welcome home if that sits for you. Whatever works for you is perfect. This week we want to talk about what's up for the week of the 22nd of January through the 28th, 2024. We're going to talk a little bit about the astrology, about the energy, about what it means and how it might allow you to live your life every single day in a way that allows you to access your highest and best, right? So let's get there. On Monday, the 22nd, the Gemini moon squares Neptune and opposes Venus. And then in the afternoon, the late afternoon, the moon will move into Cancer. That Cancer moon is going to quincunx both Pluto and the sun in Aquarius. So Monday is a day that might feature crossed wires or miscommunications, second guessing, or and that's second guessing yourself or someone else, right? And that second guessing might dissolve the edges of your narrative today. And the key is it might send you straight into kind of that state of self-criticism, self-doubt. Rein your imagination in before you shut yourself down, right? Because you start believing your own stories if you don't shut those down. And so the key is you don't want to believe your own stories of self-doubt. And that Gemini moon will create that self-doubt, and then that Cancer moon can cause you to close things down, and then that self-doubt gets stuck, right? So work on rebuking that self-doubt, right? We're not interested in that. So just make sure that you're true to your story. On Tuesday, the 23rd, that Cancer moon is going to trine Saturn overnight, and Venus, right, strides into Capricorn, where she'll stay until the 16th of February. All this is in the wee hours, by the way. That Cancer moon is going to sextile Jupiter and then oppose both Mercury and Mars, and square Chiron late in the evening. So think about it. Venus is moving into Capricorn, right? And we have Mercury and Mars in Capricorn opposing the moon and squaring Chiron. So that Cancer-Capricorn axis is highlighted today. So we're talking about doing and functionality, and then nurturing and vulnerability, right? And how we interplay between those two things. So how you're going to choose to invest your heart and soul into your future, and how that has the capacity to bring you clarity, as long as you're working on the capability of that capacity, if that makes sense to you. Releasing your outdated narratives, right? That is going to allow you to slingshot your own growth. And so it is important to make sure that the basis is always home. And when we're talking about home, when it comes to Venus, we're talking about what home looks like, smells like, tastes like, sounds like to you, self-reflexively. And Venus in Capricorn is how you're creating the structure of your existence, right? How you're creating all of those components to scaffold what you believe your structure needs to look like, sound like, feel like, taste like, smell like, right? Those experiences are the real scaffold of your life, because they're what magnetize things. They're the way that you call things to you. They're the way that you amplify those things. And so making sure that they're in line is really, really important, especially now. On Wednesday, the 24th, that Cancer moon is going to sextile Uranus, still retrograde, right? And then trine Neptune. So on Wednesday, make sure that you are telling the story of your highest and best, your most healed self, your most healed circumstance, in your most healed situation. So allow yourself to invite and witness the change. And by that I mean the potential for immediate change in yourself and in your reality, right? The nature of your willingness is the leading edge of your new timeline. So the more you're willing to claim the reality of that potential, absolutely dictates where your new timeline not only materializes, but will take you. On Thursday the 25th, overnight, the moon moves into Leo. And then that Leo moon is going to oppose Pluto, quincunx Venus, and then Mars in Capricorn is going to square Chiron. And at 11:54 a.m. Central Time, the moon will oppose the sun. And we have the Leo full moon, right? 5 degrees Leo. This is conjunct Pluto. It's squaring Jupiter. And also Mars is squaring Chiron, right? So after that, not long after that too, the moon in Leo will quincunx Saturn and square Jupiter. So paying attention to a Leo full moon, right? So there is a potential for exaggeration and those tendencies of like self-aggrandizement, right? To overreach your capacity to show up. And again, by that I mean whether that's for you or for others around you, right? Leaning into the ways that you could be in service will allow the need for external validation, no matter how temporary that need is, right, to vanish. And what I mean by that is sometimes we have moments in our life where we feel the need to seek out external validation, whether or not this is our dominant internal state. Sometimes we feel like we want external validation. And that's what I mean by it could be temporary, right? There are days you wake up and you just need a little boosting. Pay attention, right? Especially on Thursday, especially around this Leo full moon, and the way that this thing is aspected. So detach from selfish tendencies that feel less than healthy, right? I'm not a believer that selfish tendencies are bad things, and I'm air quoting that word bad, but here's the deal. Sometimes we get to be selfish. Sometimes we need to be selfish, and that's okay, right? Our first obligation is to ourselves and the general health of ourselves, because there's nothing we can do for another until we get healthy, right? So detaching from those selfish tendencies that feel less than healthy on Thursday, choosing compassion, choosing freedom, choosing a new way to witness yourself and others. That's important, especially at a Leo full moon. Friday the 26th, Mercury in Capricorn will square Chiron. That moon in Leo is going to trine Chiron. Hello. And then quincunx Mercury and Mars, who are doing that pair dancing do-si-do. And then the Leo moon will square Uranus, still retrograde. So on Friday, pay attention to your expectations, right? And mind them as you choose whether you're going to sign on for a brand new story or whether you're going to maintain that story of disillusionment, right? So whether you're actually in motion or whether you're simply discussing your action steps, keep your eye on that true highest and best, right? And trust any ensuing shifts that come as a result of that vision, okay? on Saturday the 27th, that Aquarius Sun is going to square Jupiter. And then at 1:35 a.m. Central Time, Uranus moves direct. The Leo moon will quincunx Neptune. Mercury finally conjuncts Mars after promenading around. The moon moves into Virgo. Hello. And then that Virgo moon is going to quincunx Pluto. Yeah, it's quite a day. So we have a grand Earth trine, right? The moon is going to trine Venus and Jupiter while in opposition to Saturn. And Uranus goes direct. And then we also have this energy of Mercury conjunct Mars. So connecting to your function, right, on Saturday, what changes do you need to make to be on your path, right, playing your own best game? So it's another day to rededicate yourself to your habits, to your patterns, to doing and being in the changing patterns that are required, right? So be as the change, move as the change, express as the change, right? This is key. Allow that to be in motion, whether that's just in your expression or whether it's in your actions. Doesn't really matter, because one follows the other. On Sunday the 28th, that Virgo moon is very busy. Yeah. So we start the day with Venus sextiling Saturn 3 minutes into the day, Central Time. And then that Virgo moon opposes Saturn. We have a trine from the moon to Venus and Jupiter, a quincunx to the Sun, and then Mercury in Capricorn trines Uranus, and Venus trines Jupiter, and the moon, whoa, wow, that's a lot just to get the moon as we utter her name, right? And then the moon quincunxes Chiron. Holy cow, that was a lot of cards jumping out there just to give us one. So on Sunday, again, we have another grand Earth trine. This time it's the moon and Uranus and then Mars and Mercury. Yeah. So this is a day of gratitude and grace, right? Express yourself on Sunday. You might feel a little bit silver-tongued, and your story might feel channeled through those ethers. So your concept of home and your concept of expansion may absolutely seamlessly find plans with momentum, right? So the beginnings, the middles, the endings might begin to weave together very cohesively, actually, in a very capable trajectory in front of you, kind of like the yellow brick road, right, that appears at Dorothy's feet. So the key here is be ready to start walking and talking, right, toward whatever that goal is, that trajectory, that capacity, that capability, right? With that Virgo moon and with all this energy in Capricorn, and then with the magnetism of the Sun and Pluto moving into Aquarius, right? We're being invited to move further, higher, above, right? And I don't mean that in that, let's call it a hierarchical sense. I mean in the expansive sense, right? There's a difference. We're not talking about better or worse. We're just talking about more. So be ready. Be ready to include and incorporate the more. All right, let's see what we got here. So on Monday, the 22nd, we have the Ace of Pentacles and the Devil. So we talked a little bit about crossed wires, about miscommunication, about how we might find ourselves second guessing and really needing, right, to dissolve the edges of the narrative, to keep us out of self-criticism, out of self-doubt. And so reining in your imagination, right, before you start believing your own story. So this is really about how you leave things in the past, right, and are willing to move into the future, unbound by whatever it is that's been keeping you free of anything that's going to be baggage, right? This this Ace of Pentacles says it's time to create something new. That new story, right? That new story that allows you to create an entire new reality outside of these things that have kept you in the past, right? So allowing yourself to really witness your new story is the way to be moving, especially on Monday, right? So much going on. On Tuesday, we have 2 3s. So we got the 3 of Cups and the 3 of Swords. So interesting. These are kind of polarly opposite cards, right? The 3 of Swords being ideas of pain and loss and heartbreak, betrayal and sadness, and the 3 of Cups being this card of celebration, of contentment and satisfaction and bliss as it is shared with others. Beautiful dichotomy, right? As we have Venus moving into Capricorn and the moon is in Cancer, really highlighting that axis as we talked about. So this is doing and functionality being in contrast to nurturing and vulnerability. So the way that we perceive ourselves could feel like in stark contrast to the way that things actually are, right? So we talked about this as releasing outdated narratives and allowing you to come back to that basis of home, right? So if your narrative is out of line with that, change your narrative and watch it change your situation, right? It can be that simple. It can be. On Wednesday, we got the 7 of Cups, the 4 of Swords, right? So the 4 of Swords actually saying, okay, you have plenty of options to heal this. What are you going to do about that? And are you going to make that choice, right? So this is the day we talked about telling your story in line with your highest and best, right? Adding that new way of expression to all of the options that you have, right? Allowing yourself to invite and witness the change, the immediate change, and also knowing that the nature of your willingness is the leading edge of your new timeline, which is limitless in its option, simply waiting for you to cut out whatever is not suiting, right? And the way that we do that is to really process what has hurt us and what it has taught us and where we're going as a result. And again, you have limitless options. Your choice. It's your choice all the time. On Thursday, this is the day of that Leo full moon. How beautiful that we have the Lovers and the Empress here, right? So, so this is about beautiful energy, really witnessing the fullness of everything, right? The Lovers is a card of choice. The Empress is that card of absolute fertile ground. Like, you know, y'all know those people who can take a clipping of a plant, throw it in a cup of water, and they can grow a lawn from that, right? My mom was that person. And that is that Empress energy. No matter what you give them, they're going to make it bloom. They're going to make it abundant. And so the Lovers asks you, how are you going to increase your capacity for love, your capacity to show up, your capacity to be as love, right? And so we talked about this as a day where exaggeration and that kind of self-aggrandizement tendency might overreach your capacity to show up. So if that's the case, then we talked about leaning into the way that you can be in service, right? Both of these cards have the capacity to be in deep service, right? Whether that's to another, to the self, or to the collective, it doesn't really matter. But the more that you allow yourself to be in service, right, in that healthy tendency of selfness, that is not selfishness, right? Choosing compassion, choosing freedom, choosing all those new ways, that allows you to grow something beautiful and something new instead of something that might not be worth revisiting, right? On Friday, we have the High Priestess and the Hanged Man. You paying attention to the majors, I hope, because we have a lot. So this, again, is that time of massive change, both in our personal lives, our personal capacities, and in the collective, right? Those are going to echo out. So we have the High Priestess and the Hanged Man. Both of these are cards of divine guidance, of shifting perspective, of really witnessing the internal as the diviner, the guider. And on Friday, we talked about paying attention to your expectations and really witnessing how you're going to be in motion and keeping yourself and your eye on the true highest and best and allowing things to shift, right? Allowing your perspective to shift in line with your intuition. This is kind of that know what you know like you know it situation where it doesn't matter what you're seeing with your eyes. It matters what you're seeing with your third eye, right? If your ajna is open, you're going to witness what you see as the truth instead of being distracted. And remembering that you can always change your perspective to be more in alignment with that divine perspective, trusting that divine timing is your timing, that divine perspective is your perspective, not getting hung up in the news or the trappings or the illusions of this 3D world, but really witnessing yourself as that temporary manifestation of the divine in action, right? And in order to have that action, as we've witnessed, you have to be able to, whether or not you have the expression, you have to be able to first have the vision. So just paying attention to your expectations and making sure that you're choosing that story of highest and best. Always, 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 right? On Saturday, we've got the Queen of Wands and the Fool. Again, lovely. This is how we set off to our most inspired, our most passionate, our most emboldened life and living, trusting, again, our divine plan, right? Queen of Wands is embodying that passion energy, that heart energy, that fire energy. So choosing, again, to rededicate yourself to your patterns, to your growth, to be on your path, right? To be on your path, rededicating yourself to playing your best game, and then really deciding to be that change, to move as the change, to live as the juiciest part of your heart and soul, and just trust that no matter what, you've got everything. Everything is provided. The more that you align with your path, the less you worry about anyone else's, because you know that simply by doing that, you're bringing everyone along with you, right? It is your game. On Sunday, we've got the Knight of Pentacles and the Moon, which was so antsy to get out. So the Knight of Pentacles, this is about how we're going to move. This is about our dedication to our path and the way that we're going. So we talked about this as that grand earth trine, right? And really witnessing the gratitude of the way you're going and the grace of where you're going. And witnessing that you may feel like what's coming in for you is just coming in as if by magic, right? And the more that you allow yourself to be pulled along, right, merrily, 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 we discover life is but a dream, right? And so those concepts of home and expansion might seamlessly find those plans with momentum and simply start to weave themselves together and create a path in front of you that's illuminated by gold, right? The more we're willing to walk the path that's laid for us, the less we worry about where we're going. Think about that. And if this is the magic of the yellow brick road, I mean, be ready to start walking, because, you know, it's going to take you where it's supposed to take you, where you're supposed to end up. And here's a newsflash. Where you're supposed to end up is always the only place you're going. All right. We have a card. And again, I like this week because we talk a lot about our internal drives this week. And sometimes those don't need to be expressed, right? I think that all of us know people who want to talk and explain and share instead of just move and do and be. The fact of the matter is we have a Leo full moon this week, so mind your tendency to self-aggrandize, mind your tendency to self-focus, and just lean into the ways that you can be of service, that you can do something that is in service, right? Not worried about what anyone else thinks, right? We're not looking at our connections. We're not looking at where we've been in the past. We're looking at where we are right now, where we are, and how that can be of best service. We also have the lower world card this week, which is actually quite lovely. It's beautiful. It's interesting to me. Let's see what it has to speak to us about. All right. The essence of the lower world holds the hidden treasures of humanity. It's a place of rich and fruitful darkness where we can find the disowned parts of ourselves and the abandoned aspects of our psyches. The lower world is the place of our ancestors where we discover the gifts and lessons from the past. It's the realm of the collective unconscious. Here we can meet our demons and transform them into pure energy, our source of personal power. Well, that sounds like some Pluto and Aquarius business to me, right? On the opposite side of this Leo full moon. So, it is time to unearth your hidden treasures. Do not make yourself small in order for others to like or accept you. Bring out the gems and precious stones that you've kept hidden inside your heart, hidden even from yourself. It's time to honor your past and recast your life as a heroic quest. As you journey into the lower world, you'll be offered all the gifts of your ancestors. Their struggles, the way they hurt, the way they lived, and the way they died will become blessings. Are you one of those people who do not like to face the past? Now your past is calling to be acknowledged, to be heard, and to be embraced. The only way to become unstuck is to honor everything that has transpired in your life, to reflect on these lessons learned, and to move on. If you bear witness to your past and learn its lessons, it will stop haunting you. As you embrace its gifts, you will discover a missing part of your soul, right? So again, we are talking about this Pluto transit. We're talking about the way that Pluto keeps offering you all of your hidden gems, right? Think about it. Pluto, as the ruler of the underworld, his domain is everything that we bury, right? Whether that's bones and skeletons, whether that's secrets, whether that's anything hidden, or whether it's a gem that we simply haven't discovered yet, right? We have all of these things beneath the surface. And as Pluto moves into Aquarius, we're going to have an opportunity to witness those collective things, not just for ourselves, but in light of the collective. And so as we witness this Leo full moon this week, we really want to make sure that we are leaning into how we put our growth into service for the other, right? For the collective, for the general highest and best. Just making sure that what you do in your healing has the intention woven into it that it will also be doing service to the collective. And that could be as simple as just stating that as an intention, right? My healing benefits the collective highest and best. How hard can that be? And then claiming it as truth, and allowing your expansion to be woven into the fabric of what comes next. What could be more beautiful, right? Absolutely. Enjoy this full moon, guys. and be super blessed. Don't witness the light as an absence of darkness. Witness it as the encompassing of the darkness, right? We're all just moving in that spectrum of shadow and shade and sun all the time. So be into it, because we're all here for it. We all showed up to do this work. So be blessed, guys. Take care, and I will see you next time.